What does it mean to play God? That is always the ultimate question when we talk about Frankenstein, whether it be the book by Mary Shelley or the numerous adaptations or spin-offs we had over the last few decades. In Del Toro's latest movie, simply titled Frankenstein, the question is less about lightning and lab coats and more about the legacy you leave behind and belonging somewhere. I think this is the kind of movie that Del Toro always wanted to make, and since he is not only the director but also the screenwriter, I think that's pretty much confirmed. But does this reinterpretation pay off? Frankenstein stars Oscar Isaac as Victor Frankenstein, Jacob Elordi as the creature, and Mia Goth as Elizabeth. Del Toro adapts Mary Shelley's novel, which continues to be one of the best novels you can read, but he reframes some of its elements. The story unfolds in Gothic fashion. Victor, driven by grief and a fair bit of vanity, creates a being that challenges the nature of identity, responsibility, and what it means to be a human. And it's a journey that is not only for the characters but also for the viewers. It's probably one of the most immersive movies that I've seen in the last few years. Oscar Isaac's performance has a mix of arrogance but also humanity that we can see on ourselves quite often. He is someone that not only experiments with life but is haunted by his own loss, which drives most of what he does. Jacob Elordi plays the creature, and is probably the biggest surprise to me. He manages to be physically imposing, but also very vulnerable when he has to be, dancing between the monstrosity and humanity. Although many other adaptations in the past were successful in portraying the creature, I don't think any did this so well. It actually makes you feel for this monstrosity that feels more human than the rest of the humans in the story. This is in no small part because of Jacob Elordi, but I also think the special effects department nailed the look for the character. It's absolutely brilliant. And then there is Mia Goth as Elizabeth, which I'm honestly convinced she can carry any role effortlessly. She's always amazing, and in this movie it's no exception. According to interviews, her clothing was inspired by insects, which is fascinating to me and matches the character perfectly. And every time there is a wardrobe change, you just get more and more interested in seeing what is going to be shown next. And related to this, if you want to laugh at me, stick around until the end of the video. Christoph Waltz also has a role. Although it's not a very long one, I thought he brought a really good angle to the story as well, as the person that basically funds Victor's creation of the creature, but not out of the goodness of his heart. As always, in everything that he does, it was brilliant. I don't think that surprises anyone, really. The visuals of the film are classic Del Toro, very colorful, very rich. The sets are so well done, and they mostly used practical sets rather than pure CGI for a lot of the scenes, which really makes you immersed in the movie. And I'm sure it helped the actors as well, because a lot of the props in the movie couldn't just be done in CGI and get the same level of acting that they managed to squeeze out of the cast. With this adaptation, I feel like there's a big focus on the feelings of neglect and abandonment, not from the creature, but from the creator, Victor. It's like he's processing trauma by working on creating life, and just as quickly as he is a victim of the neglect, he is the person inflicting it to the creature as well, which I thought was a really interesting take. And this is really pushed on the audience by having the movie essentially broken down into two parts, one that tells the story from Victor's point of view and the other one from the creatures, with the ending being essentially a resolution for both parts. I won't spoil the ending for you in case you haven't seen it. I'll just say it felt refreshing and hopeful, which is something Del Toro does really well. He can tell you a really effed up story about monstrosities, love, abuse, and by the end of it, it can still give you some sense of hope and happiness. He is a very talented director and writer, and in this movie I think it's a culmination of both skill sets. On the novel by Mary Shelley, we are confronted with a creator that abandons his creation, but Del Toro's movie goes further and asks, what if the creation inflicts the same kind of abandonment on the creator, which is really interesting to me. I've read some critics of the movie, and a lot of them argue that it simplifies too much of the moral ambiguity about the creature by making him more of a victim rather than something looking for vengeance. And honestly, I can't agree with those points. I think the creature's portrayal would be way closer to Mary Shelley's story than most adaptations. I never felt that the violence the creature applied was gratuitous on the novel. The creature was always meant to lash out at the world because it doesn't understand it, and neither does the world understand the creature, leading to violent encounters basically. Mimicking much of what we experience as humans as we grow up. Probably most of the critics' view of the creature were tainted by decades of movies where it's just a wild beast and nothing else. But Del Toro decided that the beast shouldn't just be a beast and that its actions actually add intelligence to it, and this would never be a weak point of the movie to me. The weakest point is probably the pacing of the movie. Towards the last 45 minutes, it felt a bit rushed, like the story could go for longer to have a more continuous pace throughout the movie, but it's nothing too damaging for the experience, I feel like. The movie clocks in at 2 hours and 30 minutes and just drags a bit towards the middle until it can finally transition into the creature's point of view and then continue the story. Ultimately, my main takeaway from the movie is that its themes are just as important today as they would have been 200 years ago, which just proves how good of a writer Mary Shelley was and how directors like Del Toro can still bring a fresh take to a story that has been done countless times over. And of course it will not be a beat-by-beat retelling of the novel. I think that would make for a great series maybe, but not a great movie. But it has the same points of criticism of the society as the novel. It has the same introspection. Nowadays we worry about biotech and medicine taking us further into the future than what we considered to be normal a few decades ago. We worry about AI, what it could change in our lives and what happens when we build something without anticipating its consequences. It fits like a glove for this movie. I was listening to the dialogue, and if there wasn't a clear intent to make it mirror the issues of our modern world, it sure is one hell of a coincidence. Anyway, if you like this review, hit like and subscribe, share your thoughts below. I'm really curious if you guys have the same opinion of the critics and think the creature's portrayal deviated too much, or if this is really what the intent on Mary Shelley's novel was. Maybe I'm alone in this, but it has been a while since I read the novel, so you guys tell me. The film is available on Netflix now. Go check it out, it's really good. And if you want to see the movie that started Del Toro's career, check out my review of Kronos. It's a really good movie as well. Oh, and the bit for you to laugh at, that's right. So, I didn't notice that Mia Goth played both Elizabeth and Claire Frankenstein, Victor's mother. She blends so well in the roles that it went completely over my head. Only when I was writing the script did I notice it after checking IMDb. So yeah, laugh away if you will. Thanks again for watching, and bye bye.